other people's dreams. Now, a lot of people, look up to you, but a lot of women find you very attractive. And then the assumption is you're romantic. So,
who assumes that? You?
well, I'll assume. Okay, I'll own that comment. I assume you're romantic. So, what's the most romantic thing you've ever done for your gorgeous wife, if I may?
Wow. When you're married for 12. Well, by the way, we just celebrated our 12-year anniversary last weekend.
Congratulations. In fact, I was reading somewhere how you guys are like the iconic couple of black Hollywood relationships that actually last.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that's quite interesting as well.
I was about to say, that must be a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
12 years in Hollywood is really 42 years. Because Hollywood marriages traditionally don't last very long. But what we do, my wife always says she makes me her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I always say you got to water the flower every day. And that's very important. You have to make sure that you put effort into it every single day. It's like with anything else you want to be successful in. You can't coast. You have to up your game every day. You have to be better than the day before. And it's the same thing in a marriage. You have to bring it. You have to cater. You have to, be communicative. You have to be open. You have to be understanding, considering, kind. All these things you have to put effort behind in order for this to be successful. It helps that you like each other.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Because the key is that you want to be there, that you don't need to be there, but you want to be there. And then when both work in the same direction, good things can come out of it. But the danger is, especially after you have kids, that you turn into roommates.
I was about to ask you about that though. What do you do to make sure that you don't become brother and sister?
Yeah, you have to take her out on dates every week. You have to make sure that you keep it sexy.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you remind each other that you were here first. The kids came second.
I like that.
And because kids take over.
Of course.
They have no mercy. They bring you down.
Like the Minions.
Yes, exactly. It's nonstop. It's from oatmeal in the morning to homework to driving to basketball practice or ballet. It never stops. So once the kids are in bed, you pass out because you're so exhausted, and you can't. You really have to take your wife in, and you have to make sure that she gets what she needs.
So what did you guys do to celebrate your anniversary? I mean,
well, we went to New York, and I took her to her favorite French restaurant, and then I presented her with a trip to Paris. So we're going to Paris next week.
Wow.
Levels.
So after I get back from South Africa, we're going to go to Paris a little bit.
All right. Well, we wish you all the best with that, but we're going to play a quick game. We're going to play with you.
Ooh.
You okay with that?
Let's go. Hold on. What are the rules?
Listen, I'm not playing. I'm watching.
The rules are that there are no rules.
Why are the curtains going down? What's happening?
The lights off, please.
Why
Thank you.
are you burning
So
candles?
you have 2 seconds to answer each and every one of these questions.
2 seconds?
Yes, 2 seconds.
So I can't think.
The questions start now. Pajamas or naked?
Naked.
Ooh, Lord.
All right.
Weave or natural hair?
Natural.
We're off to a great start here, aren't we?
Short crop natural. With a fade.
You do realize she's gonna melt in that
Short
seat,
crop
right?
natural with a fade with a purple jacket.
And you do know my husband. Hip hop or R&B?
Hip hop.
The first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Thank God.
Nicki Minaj or Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Why?
Because I only had 2 seconds.
So if you had 4, somehow Nicki Minaj would be a part of the equation.
Nicki Beyonce.
Listen, I do not blame you at all. I mean, a lot of people have seen an interesting side of you with Real Husbands of Hollywood. I mean, you guys look like you're really having fun in there, but there must be a lot of work involved.
Well, it's scripted. There's a script. And even though when you work with Kevin Hart, the script really goes out the window, you have to be on your toes. You have to be quick. And we're really friends, so that helps. The 6 of us, we're really close friends, and we hang out for real. So having the cameras pointed at us while we hang out and make fun of each other is pretty normal for us. But it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun.
And before we let you go, which is about to happen sadly, we just want to know, living in America at the moment, a lot of horrendous things have been happening over the last year. But in all seriousness, what are your thoughts around being a black man today?
Wow, that's gonna take another hour. There has been a lot of challenges in not just in the past year. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
The only thing that has changed is that those things that were going on before are now becoming news every single day because of the devices we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we have phones now and cameras everywhere at all times. So now all of a sudden those things are being highlighted, which I think is a great thing,
Right.
because you have to talk about these things. You have to expose the police brutality, the violence, the shootings. I mean, 3,000 people die at the hands of a gun every single year in the United States, which is insane. So
Yeah.
comparatively speaking, in Germany, we've had 50 in the past 10 years. So it's completely out of whack. And there's many reasons for that, obviously. There's the fear that is between the two sides. There's discrimination. There's so many deep-rooted factors that play a role in what's happening. And dialogue is where we have to start. The political climate hasn't helped. That's sort of inflamed the situation further because the whole fear mongering has sort of taken over and has distracted us from what's really important, which is understanding each other, which is love, which is making sure that everybody enjoys freedom, enjoys their civil rights. It's difficult, and I know you guys can relate because
Sure.
it's been similar here for a long time.
Absolutely. And right now, unfortunately, we're right in the middle of a war against women, which is also not new, but thanks to devices, there's a lot of stories coming up. Women are
Yeah.
showing up dead. A woman in South Africa is most likely to be killed by her intimate partner. So, what is your message to
Wow.
young men out there?
That's interesting because usually women are taught how to behave rather than men, and I think it's time, and it's more important for parents and for community leaders to teach men and educate young men how to conduct themselves and how to relate to women and how to respect women and treasure and cherish women. It's a terrible situation, but again, when kids grow up without guidance, when they grow up without role models, when they grow up without hope, without any type of perspective, without education, oftentimes in parts, it's a really dire situation, and we have to take responsibility as individuals, as families, as parents, as teachers, as community leaders, as religious leaders. We have to take responsibility and form the so-called village that we talk about when we're talking about raising our children. And it starts at a young age because the subconscious forms within the first 3 or 4 years of a child's age, and the influence that we have on a child is tremendous. We have to make sure that what we put into that child's brain, what paradigms we manifest in that child's brain, reflect those values and principles that we're looking forward to seeing as an adult. And if we don't do that, the repercussions are dire.
And as we've seen with some of the sad stories. So ultimately, from the get-go, we have to take responsibility. Boris, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in studio.
Thank you, guys.
We've been watching you for many years, trying to be like you. It never worked out for some of us. But
Be you, man. Be you.
or maybe look like you. But it never worked out. We appreciate your work, and we love the fact that you consider our home your home as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you
Thanks
very much for
having
being
me.
here.
Everybody come out to Taboo on Friday. It's gonna be lit.
Oh, I'm actually playing them Friday night. So
Oh, well then, there you go.
there we go.
Good.